Ladies and gentlemen, Ola's just announced their new Gen 3 range of products. This is the first one we're going to be talking about, the S1X, but we'll first quickly talk about the Gen 3 platform as a whole. Firstly, there's a lot of new technologies Ola has applied here. Firstly, all scooters get brake-by-wire, which is big news. All scooters get ABS, at least single-channel ABS, which is big news. We love to see ABS on two-wheelers. We think it's a really important safety feature, and we're glad it's here. So single channel ABS is standard across all Gen 3 models. There is a top spec flagship model that also gets dual channel ABS, which we'll talk about very soon. All models also now get chain drive instead of a belt drive. And while chain drive is said to be a little bit noisy, Ola said they've worked on this and improved the noise. So it should be a fairly silent ride. Now the chain drive brings more efficiency as well as more reliability. And Ola says overall reliability has gone up and efficiency has also gone up thanks to that brake-by-wire. And yes, all models also now get a mid-mounted electric motor. That's the whole platform to talk about. Now we'll talk about the S1X. Now this comes in a 2, 3 and 4 kilowatt hour battery option. Prices start at 80,000 rupees for the 2 kilowatt hour, 90,000 for the 3 kilowatt hour, and 1 lakh rupees for the 4 kilowatt hour variant. The specs are as follows for that 4 kilowatt hour variant. So you get 9.5 horsepower of peak output. That's compared to the 8 horsepower of the Gen 2. You also get 242 kilometers of IDC range, which is a big jump from the previous 176 kilometers, and your 123 kilometers per hour top speed. And yes, this does get single channel ABS despite it having a drum setup at the front. Finally, the specs are done. We'll talk about the looks because Ola has changed some of this stuff. Firstly, you get a 4.3-inch color segmented LCD here. There's a physical key on the S1X. You get these physical controls here for obviously your reverse and other functions here. You get a longer, more ergonomic seat. I'm quickly going to sit on it so you can take a look at what that's like. Nice and soft, feels fairly comfortable. I don't know if I'll be comfortable for the 242 kilometers of that range, but we'll find out once we start to ride these scooters. Ola says they've also reworked this grab handle, and there's just some new graphics and colors to talk about. That is the S1X. A whole lot of improvements for me. ABS, brake-by-wire, all of these are really big improvements and very nice to see starting right from the entry level of the range. And speaking of that, we'll now talk about the next scooter in the range, which is the S1X Plus. This is the second product in the lineup. It's called the S1X Plus. It's a step up on the S1X, as the name suggests. It has a 4 kilowatt hour battery. Prices start at 1.08 lakh rupees. What do you get for the extra money compared to the S1X? Firstly, you get a front disc brake, still single channel ABS. You get the same color segmented LCD display, but the big thing is that you now get a 15 horsepower peak output, which is a big jump from the 9.5 horsepower of the S1X. You get the same 242 kilometers of IDC range, the same brake-by-wire, the same longer seat, the same updated ergonomics. Basically, all the same changes apply to the S1X Plus as well. But here you get a little bit more performance, a little bit more braking performance as well, thanks to the front disc brake. And that's about it. And now we'll move on to the S1 Pro. That was the earlier flagship, but it's actually not right now because there's 2 more scooters to talk about. So let's head to the S1 Pro. Okay, now the third scooter in the lineup. This would have typically been the flagship because this is the S1 Pro, but it's no longer the flagship. We'll again find out about that flagship very soon. Now the S1 Pro, I'll quickly tell you what's changed here. You get a 3 kilowatt hour variant and a 4 kilowatt hour variant now. The 3 kilowatt hour, that starts at 1.15 lakh rupees, and the 4 kilowatt hour variant is 1.35 lakh rupees. It gets 15 horsepower of a peak output, 242 kilometers of IDC range, and 125 kilometers per hour top speed. As before, you still have that same color LCD display here. The scooter's currently off, so we can't show you, but this is pretty much unchanged. What Ola has done is they've reworked the internals of this, given it a more powerful processor, simplified some of the background work that's been going on here, and they're saying it should be a whole lot more reliable as well. Now, the S1 Pro also gets the other changes from the Gen 3 platform. So while it may not seem like a huge spec bump compared to the old S1 Pro, the fact that it also gets single channel ABS, it also gets brake-by-wire, and the other improvements that will come along with MoveOS 5 and the Gen 3 architecture means it is quite a fair bit of an improvement. But with that, let's talk about what's the real improvement in the range, and that is the Ola S1 Pro Plus. Okay, this is the final boss, the Ola S1 Pro Plus. There's lots of interesting numbers to talk about, so I'll get those out of the way first. Firstly, 320 kilometers of IDC range, which is just very, very impressive. I know IDC range isn't very representative of real world conditions, but the fact that you have 320 kilometers means even real world range would be very, very impressive. 18 horsepower of peak output, again a very impressive figure, which has enabled a 0 to 40 kilometers per hour, which has enabled a 0 to 40 kilometers per hour time of just 2.1 seconds and 141 kilometers per hour top speed. Again, all of these are very, very impressive figures, but for me the most impressive thing is number one, a disc brake here, and if you come around here, disc brake number 2, dual disc brakes and dual channel ABS on the S1 Pro Plus. So it is very easy to add these figures of power and range, but the fact that Ola has also looked out for safety, I think for me is a big thumbs up. Of course, the rest of the Gen 3 updates are here. You get the same longer seat. The S1 Pro Plus also gets this two-tone pattern on the seat. You get the same LCD display as you've had on previous S1 Pro models. So all of that is pretty similar, but yes, the big change is the numbers and those features. You get an updated grab rail also, which, I mean, sure, it looks kind of all right. And yeah, the S1 Pro Plus graphic on the back. Now, prices for this are actually very interesting because there's a 4 kilowatt hour variant that's priced at 1.54 lakh rupees, and there's a 5.3 kilowatt hour variant, which is what all those specs were for, and that's 1.69 lakh rupees. Now, it's not just as simple as one battery and another battery, because that bigger battery actually uses Ola's very own Bharat cells. So these are 4680 cells. If you don't know what they mean, they're basically, imagine like a AAA cell and a AA cell. So a AA cell is bigger, and in the same way, the 4680 cell is bigger and more energy dense, which is what has allowed Ola to give you that extra range, to give you that more performance as well. Aside from that, the same changes that we've seen on the Gen 3 platform, so the same chain drive, the mid-mounted motor, the ABS, the brake-by-wire, all of that applies to this as well as Move OS 5, which will be on all the Gen 3 models and will be coming to the rest of the S1 community in mid-Feb. There was at least a lot to talk about. I hope I've covered everything. Purchasing for these models start today. Deliveries are in mid-Feb. Ola will continue to sell the Gen 2 models, which they claim are still the leaders of the market at a very reduced cost. So they will start at about 70,000 rupees, which is again very impressive for an electric scooter. But yeah, this was a quick first look at Ola's Gen 3 updates. Let me know what you guys think about these scooters in the comments below. And thank you for watching PowerDrift QuickEase. I know this wasn't quick or very easy for me personally because there's just so much to talk about and so many people. But yeah, we managed to get through it. So hope you liked it. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching.